Right now at noon, 100 Oregon National Guard troops deployed to Portland by President Trump return home as citizens. Plus,
this has opened up Pandora's box to things like this happening more often.
New details about a massive basketball betting scandal that allegedly fleeced millions of dollars by rigging games. And a proposed bill in Washington is getting pushback from county sheriffs, saying it goes too far, while lawmakers say it sets consistent standards. And later, a key name on the Seahawks roster is labeled questionable on the team's injury report ahead of Saturday's playoff match. We'll have all those details coming up right now at noon. We begin here at noon with breaking news as National Guard troops deployed to Portland by the Trump administration have returned home as citizens. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stephanie Domerat. Now, this video was sent to us by Governor Tina Kotek's office, showing her and leaders from the Oregon Military Department greeting troops as they arrived back at PDX. The roughly 100 troops are coming back after finishing up the demobilization process at Fort Bliss in Texas. They'll now head to Camp Withacombe in Happy Valley to collect the last of their personal belongings before heading home. With their return to Oregon, the National Guard troops are now once again under the authority of the governor. We're learning new details today about one of the biggest scandals in college basketball history. A new federal indictment accuses more than a dozen players of shaving points, including a former Oregon Duck. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz breaks down the case for us.
We're talking about millions of dollars of bets here, allegedly made by fixers, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribe payouts to players. Federal investigators say this is all stemming at the college level as well as in Chinese Basketball Association games. The feds believe this all began back in 2022. Of the 26 people indicted, 22 of them are former college players, including former Duck Jalen Terry. He played for Oregon for one season in 2021. Prosecutors say Terry's involvement in the scheme happened later, during the 2023-24 season when he played for DePaul. Federal investigators accuse Terry and three of his teammates of taking bribes to underperform in the first halves of 3 games.
They did so with carefully orchestrated FaceTime calls to obscure and prevent their communications from being intercepted and recorded.
So here's how they did it, apparently. Investigators say fixers would bet hundreds of thousands of dollars on games. Players would earn between 10 to 30 grand for underperforming. The indictment suggests some players were targeted for the scheme because they were missing out on NIL money. And some experts say they're not surprised we've reached this point.
With the legalization of sports gambling, this has opened up Pandora's box to things like this happening more often.
And this is not new here in Portland. Back in October, former Blazers coach Chauncey Billups was accused of being a part of a rigged poker scheme run by the Mafia. An unnamed person that matches Billups' description has also been accused of rigging an NBA game. Chauncey Billups, though, denies all those allegations. In Northwest Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Well, when it comes to the case against Chauncey Billups, you may recall he pleaded not guilty in federal court in November and was released on bond. He's currently barred from gambling and his travel is limited. He's also on unpaid leave from the team. All 31 defendants in that gambling case are due back in court in March. The judge has said he hopes to hold a trial in the fall. Let's give you a live look outside now on this Friday afternoon. This is the view from our Chehalem tasting room, our sky cam there. Just a beautiful day out there. Look at all that blue sky. Let's check in with Chris McGinnis with a look at your weekend forecast.
And we are going to rip off more dry days in a row heading into the weekend. It's also going to be pretty breezy. It's breezy out there in some cases right now, not necessarily in downtown, although I have seen the flags flapping in the breeze there a little bit. At last check at the airport, the breeze has picked up a little bit out of the east-southeast at 8 miles an hour. But watch this. So it's 51 right now at PDX. This is the I-84 camera out near 257th in Troutdale. That camera, these are big cameras. They're heavy. They're mounted down. And this thing is bopping around in the breeze out there. Check out some of the wind gusts from this morning already. Corbett has clocked a wind gust to 67 miles an hour. Troutdale's been gusting to 49 in the last hour or so. And not everybody's feeling it, but those that are feeling the east breeze are like, wow, it's windy. All right, wind advisory continues for that small sliver of East County through 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The east wind machine will continue for those that are feeling that. A lot of us aren't, but some of us are. So breezy and clear says it through the evening. We've got a high of about 53 today and dipping down into the mid-40s by 8 o'clock. I've got a dry weekend and a 7-day forecast. We are looking off in the distance for rain. I'll let you know when the next chance of rain is coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see you then, Chris. Thank you. Let's get you a look at your national headlines this afternoon. President Donald Trump suggested he might enact tariffs on countries who don't back a U.S. takeover of Greenland. Trump made the comments during an unrelated event at the White House on rural health care. They also come as a bipartisan congressional delegation in Denmark is meeting with Danish and Greenlandic lawmakers in an effort to lower tensions. At the White House event, Trump reiterated that a U.S. takeover of Greenland is necessary for national security. A new CNN poll conducted by SSRS shows roughly 75% of Americans oppose the U.S. attempting to take over Greenland. The Pentagon is reportedly moving a carrier strike group to the Middle East region as tensions about the protests in Iran continue. That's according to a source familiar with the matter who spoke with CNN under the condition of anonymity. The nearest U.S. Navy carrier strike group is led by the USS Abraham Lincoln, which was most recently reported to be in the South China Sea. Military experts say it may take up to a week for it to get to the Persian Gulf. And the average price of a new car is at a record high, around $50,000. That's according to Edmunds and Kelley Blue Book. There are now no new cars priced under $20,000. Experts say this is because tariffs have raised the cost of imported cars and parts. Right now, the cheapest new car is the Hyundai Venue, priced at about $20,500. And those are your national headlines. Gresham police are asking for your help finding a missing 14-year-old. Authorities say Annabella Wimberly was last seen leaving Gresham High School at 12:30 yesterday afternoon. She has not been seen since. At the time, she was wearing a light-colored hoodie and carrying a teal polka dot backpack. If you know where she is, call 911. In an update, the murder trial for the man accused of murdering a newlywed nurse from Beaverton has been delayed again. Prosecutors say Bryce Schubert killed his neighbor, 32-year-old Melissa Jubain, in September of 2024, just 10 days after she was married. Last March, Schubert's lawyer requested the trial be pushed back to this coming March. Today, they requested it be pushed back again, citing the large amount of evidence in the case, some of which is still being processed by the Oregon State Police Crime Lab. Schubert pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. No new trial date has yet been set. To Washington, where several sheriffs are pushing back against a new bill that would add new state requirements for them. Those requirements would include age minimums, years of law enforcement experience, and county-funded background checks. Supporters say it sets consistent standards, but some sheriffs argue it goes too far. For example, if a sheriff's certification is revoked, a new commission could remove the sheriff from office rather than through a recall vote by residents.
Removes their ability to decide. It places it on a group of unelected individuals that, in large part, a lot of them are not even law enforcement.
There has been so much state overreach, in particular into law enforcement. This is just another extreme measure by the state to have control.
There was a similar bill proposed last year, but it never made it out of committee. Another hearing for this Senate bill is scheduled for next week.
30 years ago, my God, this place was packed.
Well, developing this afternoon, a once bustling grocer on Portland's Produce Row is now at risk of closing. Sheridan Fruit Company, which has been in business since 1916, is begging customers to come back. But the president of the company says she's having trouble both filling the shelves and selling enough to stay open.
It means a lot to me personally. You know, I don't want to see this go away, and there's so many things out of my control.
She says part of the problem is rising prices from suppliers. Sheridan also used to deliver hundreds of restaurants around town, but many of them have now closed. Sheridan's president says they are trying to work with different vendors to hopefully get more shelves, more fully stacked, and people back in the door.